Okay.
All right, so into today's talk, a box with a bow. I have no idea what that's about. Let's find out. I started out thinking, that we are accustomed to predictability in our lives. We have calendars and schedules and routines that we keep, and a wrapped package upends predictability, concealing its contents, offering mystery, suspense, and a surprise. It's at its core, though, spirit is nauseatingly predictable, always acting with love, giving us exactly what we believe. Spirit never asks for clarification, never judges our choices, just delivers whatever we have ordered. So, imagine in our lives if we were to, instead of buying things, going to the store and, saying this is what I want, or this is what I'm going to get, if we, instead of buying the items we want, if we just had a subscription service that delivered random items, delivered at random times, wrapped in uninformative packaging. Now, in this imaginary world, we could keep the item with or without opening it, though. We could trade it with someone else for their wrapped package, still not knowing what we're getting or what we're giving up. Life would be interesting, but our economy would be in a little bit of chaos. Now, when we exercise our freedom of choice without thinking through the consequences, we opt for the subscription and forfeit any control over our experiences. Now, while I was putting this talk together, I was thinking, and my birthday coming up, so I was thinking a little bit about family, and I remembered an uncle that, was in our life as I grew up, who was an airline pilot. And once he and my dad were talking about, some of the close calls he'd had and things that made the job kind of exciting. And my dad asked him how he managed to keep his calm when the inevitable challenges of commercial flight arose. And his reply was that pilots are the type of people who always know there is one more option to try, whatever the situation. They never give up. Then he admitted the trick, of course, is finding the right option before you run out of sky. Now, not this empty box, this box we're talking about, this box with a bow, the box could be empty or at least appear to be empty. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. It could be filled with joy, thinking Santa Claus brings presents that give us joy. Or for the Pandora aficionados out there, it could be filled with demons and fear. As we reach into that box, as we look for that one more option, we don't know what we're going to find in there. But we know there's something, and we're going to try it. As I speak, the world awaits for the beginning of another Super Bowl game. The box is wrapped. In a few hours, we will know what it contains. But we must open the box to learn its contents. Now, again, thinking of boxes as I put this talk together, I was reminded of the physicist Erwin Schrödinger, who back in 1935 postulated the great thing that we've all heard in school, that if we were to place a cat in a box with something that we knew would or could kill it, that we would not know without looking whether the cat was dead or alive, and therefore, in our thinking, it is both dead and alive. Now, I'm not going to dive into that in any depth. You all know the story, so it's just one of those things that we think about. It's like, well, how could something be dead and alive at the same time? We have to observe it. We have to get into it to figure out what it is. We have to step off the beaten path and get into those woods to figure out what's in there. So each moment of our life brings with it the same mystery. If we subscribe to the Pandora supposition, every box will be received with dread and foreboding. Perhaps you know people like that. People who never miss an opportunity to find a cloud in every silver lining. Ever notice how often they succeed in fulfilling their own prophecy? Now, Holmes writes in The Science of Mind that behind the individual is the universal, which has no limits. In this concept alone lies the possibility of eternal and endless expansion. The limitless universe, however, can and does expand in whatever direction we choose to send it. When we anticipate fear and doom, Spirit willingly obliges with boxes and boxes of our most dreaded nightmares. The Santa Claus syndrome, on the other hand, presumes every box is filled with love and goodness. Now, my life experiences have included a mixture of both. But my spiritual self weighs in heavily on the latter, not refusing to see pain and hardship, but not accepting it as preordained, and certainly not permanent. Stepping from the well-worn path into the unknown wilderness with excitement and anticipation of new adventures, revelations, and surprises acknowledges that expansion or growth is the natural order. Some would have us employ the box to contain our spiritual self. There are lists of rules to follow, trying to codify what is holy and what is not. In that limited view, if it does not fit in the box with the lid neatly in place, it cannot be of the God being described. Now, the Science of Mind offers a broader definition of God. It is this broader definition that immediately spoke to my heart when I learned of it. Oh, it doesn't have to fit in a box. Tell me more. Spirit does not build a box and stuff us or itself into it. Spirit cannot be contained in a box. Holmes writes again in The Science of Mind that should all the wisdom of the universe be poured over us, we should yet receive only that which we are ready to understand. You see, we are the box, able to hold only that amount of wisdom we are ready to understand. Beyond the limit of our understanding, Spirit continues to flow unencumbered all around us. In my mind, I'm picturing that scene in the movie Indiana Jones where the apparitions are released to wreak havoc upon the unfaithful, but in a more Ghostbusters Stay Puft Marshmallow kind of way. So Spirit is also the fabric of the box, and so exists both inside, outside, and as the box all at the same time. The cat is both alive and dead. Spirit cannot be contained in a box, and neither should we. Yet we continue to choose borders over broader, conflict over cooperation, and sides over solutions. Science of Mind does not subscribe to a predestined grand design type of existence for us. So it is only my human limitations that lead me to say Spirit probably never expected any one of us to fully get it. At least not for a long time to come. the example of the teacher Jesus back in the day notwithstanding, our collective awakening, it seems, is to be revealed only after we have exhausted all other possibilities. Again, not because Spirit is hesitant, but because our freedom of choice is driving us in so many directions with such strong convictions that we seal ourselves into our own little boxes, stapled, taped, and shrink-wrapped against anything we do not understand. Science of mind offers us an alternative. Don Miguel Ruiz writes in the Fifth Agreement that there are no empty spaces between the stars, between the galaxies, between all the universes, which means all the universes are connected. Embrace the box. It can never be empty. It is spirit, and spirit is infinite love. Science informs us there is a thing called dark matter filling every nook and cranny of our universe. While I understand the name springs forth from the lack of light perceived between the stars of deep space, I have to think any such matter is at best transparent, since we clearly see distant stars through countless billions of miles of this stuff. And already a simple observation prompts a new way of thinking. Maybe we should call it spirit matter. We need to reach into the box with the full expectation of finding there exactly what we believe, knowing that spirit matter becomes whatever we believe it should be. Knowing that, we train ourselves to believe in our own power to create a world that reflects spirit in every way. We see ourselves in others, not as others. We recognize our principles demand we allow each other to awaken at their own pace, to arrive in their own time. We see too that being one, created from the one, any differences we perceive are self-imposed through human limitations. And we let them go. We release any ego-driven idea that our judgments are more important than our freedom. We escape the prisons we have built for ourselves, the boxes we have sealed ourselves into. When we collectively recognize our unity with Spirit, then by default with each other, our choices will inevitably bring us all onto the same point in our travels. Now, I don't know if that is when we shed our need for physical form and re-emerge as beams of light, or if that point heralds a new Big Bang, nor does it matter. A box with a bow is a present. And it is the present journey we must continue, releasing the triumphs and tragedies of the past, placing no expectation on the future, embracing the unknown, accepting our power, choosing love over control, and knowing there is always, always enough sky. Thank you.